parted from your true love. And I sense it in you.
Matthew, I'll start with you. When the idea first came to bring Claire's parents back to life in another timeline, were there any conversations that you had with Ron, with Diana, about like what is or isn't off the table in doing that?
No. I mean, no, I didn't. Nothing was off the table. I didn't talk. I just told Diana, I asked her if she was okay with me doing it. And she said yes. She was fully on board. She wasn't interested in doing it. You know, she just wanted to tell that story herself to her, their dad. So I didn't have a lot of, it was like, don't do this or don't do that. I mean, I think she knows me well enough that I'm not going to destroy the canon of the show, or certainly I can't destroy the canon in the books because they're dead in the books. So, but from the show.
And Maril, I really love Julia's voiceovers in the episodes, and I feel like they really tie everything together, as well as giving us a look at her feelings for her husband. Can you talk about how that came to be, why she is the one leading us through those voiceovers?
I mean, it really came about, I think, initially off episode 2 with the letters and that kind of lovely exchange between Henry and Julia, and hearing that, and then her kind of continuing as the voice, kind of the narration in many ways, kind of like Claire was early on in Outlander. And we kind of got away from that in later seasons in Outlander, but that's always been such a calling card of Outlander. People don't do that as much anymore, and I love the fact that we've brought it back, and hearing that in the letter exchange kind of continues, and I love that story narrative too that the writers have come up with.
Tried to always use it as in she's writing in her diary, so to speak, in some way, because Henry and Julia met and connected through words, through letters. That's what she does throughout the show is, I'm writing you this letter, and maybe you'll never read it, but I have to get this on the page because that's how we communicate.
Absolutely. Now, I assume you're not going to tell me if we're ever going to see Claire while her parents are gone, see her uncle, but do you two know what her uncle is doing, how Claire is doing right now as we speak? Yes,
we do. I know exactly where they are and what they're doing, and
Claire's playing tiddlywinks.
Yeah, she's doing something creative. I'll tell you that. Yeah, we know exactly, and never say never.
Very exciting. Now, one character I'm really intrigued by thus far is Davina, Brian's mom, because obviously she's instilled such excellent values in him, and at the same time, there is this antagonism between her and Julia when they first meet. Can you kind of talk about that character and what she's going through?
Well, when we meet her, she's just doing her day job. I think, she's happy that Brian, she gets to live with her son and he's there, and they have, for the time, the relationship that they do. It's probably, for the show, it's probably slightly modern, but it's okay because we love Brian and we love, and then this new woman comes in and kind of throws the balance off a little bit. There's a fun line in, I think it's episode 6, where she's like, you got eyes for Julia. And he's like, what are you talking about? No, it's not even like that, Mom. And it's a really fun little moment. And because Davina, like a lot of moms, they think they got it all figured out when they're really off base. So I always thought that was a really fun moment. But yeah, and then with Julia, I think she's just trying to figure out, and in that way that, maybe Mrs. Fitz saw Claire and she knew something was off. They didn't know what. And I think that's the same case with Davina. She knows something's different and odd about her, but she can't put her finger on it.
Absolutely. And then my last question for both of you is, was there one character that you were most surprised by as you started to develop this show, based on what you already had known about him or them from the original?
I mean, for me, it was Merrta, only because I don't know why I went into this thinking, we're casting grizzled, curmudgeon Duncan Lacroix in a younger version. And it wasn't until Matt and I had a conversation about it, we were talking about the character, and it suddenly became clear that this is the Merrta before he's had his heart broken. Yeah. This is the hopeful, wingman. And Rory has just stepped into this role, and he's so charming, and Merrta is so likable. And Merrta was always likable. I mean, everyone loved Merrta, but he's likable in such a different way that people are like, oh my God, this is optimistic Merrta who wants to fall in love. And I also love how we play the bromance with Brian. I think that's been really beautiful and surprising in some ways.
Yeah, and I think, people are, you get locked into that. Merrta always loved Ellen. And in the books, he dies so early on. He dies, really at the beginning of book 3. And book 2 takes place in so many different places. You don't spend a lot of time with him. So in that, there's not a ton of Merrta's story. All we know is that he loved Ellen. And for me, looking back on it, is maybe that love for Ellen actually flowed more through Brian. And I mean that in a very brotherly cousin way, that he was really dedicated to that friendship so much that it kind of spilled over. But, I think he obviously had eyes for her in the beginning. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you both so much. I'm very much enjoying the show so far. Cannot wait to see more.
how much have you seen?
6 episodes, actually.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you don't go to him, it'll haunt you forever.